So that brings us to the question, well, why has supply fallen short? Have people not got the message? That is, did they miss the message? And the answer turns out people didn't miss the message. That's actually an interesting thing. That is, if we actually look at the fraction of people who went on to college, that is the fraction of high school graduates who went on to college. I can't even remember which one's which. Oh yeah, the red one is the fraction going on to college. The blue one is the premium for having a college degree that I showed you from before. And look at this. Premium went down, fewer people went. Premium went up, more people went. I don't know what you'd expect, right? So people respond. What's really interesting about this picture is economists recognize the rise in returns to education about here. People had already started responding by the time economists noticed it. Pretty interesting. Tells you what we know, right? They were pretty good. Now, so people, it's not like people don't recognize it. People see. Why do people see this? Because it's important to them, right? People don't pay attention to things that aren't important. They tend to pay attention to things that are important. Not everybody, but enough people that we see the market response. So in fact, more people went on. Well, geez, why did then things didn't keep pace? Well, the answer turns out, let me just go ahead. This is for men. It turns out while a lot of people went to college, not a lot of them finished. That is, particularly among men, you look at the fraction, this is again, the blue line is the return, so that return's going up. The fraction who got some college skyrocketed, but the fraction who actually completed, very little growth, very little response. So what's going on? It means that people are trying to respond, but they're not being successful. That's a big part of the story, that what we've had here is rising demand for more skilled workers. Workers have tried to respond by getting more educated, and I assume they're responding on other margins as well, but they haven't been able to keep pace. And as supply falls short of demand, prices rise. Okay? Story for women is a little better. For women, again, you see a much sharper rise among some college than you do among the completers, but completion rates for women are way up. That's why it's not surprising today that women are much more educated than men in terms of finishing college. Women are much more likely than men. Now, why is that? Why would women be more likely to finish than men? I know you're talking men suck, but that's not a good explanation, okay? Except for that's what I'm going to say in a minute. But I got evidence they suck, okay? I got evidence. That's the difference. I don't just think they suck, I got evidence. This is high school GPAs for women and men. Women are better prepared for college. And this is on average. If we were to look at the marginal men, that is the men on the margin of going to college, the gap would be even bigger than it is in terms of the average preparedness for going to college. That's the difference between men and women. Now, this is not a new phenomenon. Women have always done better in school than men in terms of grades. How well do they do when they go to college? This is GPAs in their when they start their college. You'll notice that, first off, you'll notice that the old C average in most universities isn't alive and well. It's more true here than elsewhere, but so when your kids come home and say, I got a 2.5, I'm above the average. No, you're not. That's average is way over there. But anyway, what you do see is that women are much more likely to be in the top categories. Men outnumber women at the bottom. So what do I think is going on? I think the following. We have a supply and demand imbalance that's really been the genesis of most of the growth in inequality in the distribution, I think. That is, technology investments in physical capital, broadening of markets, have all contributed to growing demand for human capital. That's not new. That's been going on for decades. What's happened is our ability to meet that growth in demand with growing supply has really dwindled. And it's not because having poorly educated people is a new thing. We've always had lots of poorly educated people. Problem is, in the past, there was a lot more things for poorly educated people to do, right? As demand perpetually grew over the 20th century, you needed to keep increasing supply. It wasn't a question of whether you're doing as well as you were yesterday. You got to keep doing better to keep pace with the growing demand. And what's happened is we've reached a point where, in fact, our current system is not producing skills at a fast enough rate to keep pace with that growing demand.